Okay, hey everyone, we have a lot of technical problems today, so we're nervous a little bit. I need to find some relax, but we need to start because we promised you to start at 6, but now
it's 6:30.
It's 6:30.
Yeah.
We have a lot of technical problems.
It's okay.
But okay, let's start. Hey everyone, today we have a special event. That's a very interesting interview with our guest, Fatih Kachalioglu. You can...
Yeah, correct.
Yes, you can correct me because sometimes I can forget some things. And today we speak all of sacral sexuality, sacral masculinity and femininity also.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of questions from our people what could be interesting from anybody who want to know something more. Just something more, because we will move into flow and try to find the most interesting for you. So we will start from something and just moving into it, yes?
Sure.
Sure.
How do you want to start? Let's have the questions.
Probably just tell us a little bit, something short about you to people who doesn't know
at all about
it. Yes.
Okay, I will. I have a complicated life story, so I will try to make it related with Tantra.
Okay.
And I think it was about 10 years ago that, or maybe 11 years ago, I met my master who was having a school in Thailand, and he came to Istanbul for a Tantra workshop for 2 days, and it was really amazing. Like, I heard some things about sexuality in the Eastern way, like Mantak Chia is very famous Taoist master. I was reading his books.
That's first what I got also.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Just first what I did find and what come to me.
That's correct. He's I guess the most available Eastern master on sexuality in the Western world, in our countries. Anyway, so my master, he's a Romanian man. He used to have it's a kind of messy situation at the moment. I don't want to go into this, but so he was basically in Thailand, and he invited me there if I want to go deeper into Tantra and yoga as well. So in this island, in Thailand, I spent 5 years. I took most of their courses, their workshops, their retreats, all the yoga trainings, yoga teachings. And
all your life was that, or you just come into it often?
It was like 8-9 months of my life was there, and only 3-4 months I was back in Turkey trying to do some money, so then I can go back and live there for another 6-7 months minimum.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, so it was like full-time training, like in terms of yoga and Tantra.
Yeah. Because it's become a style of life.
Actually, if you look at Tantra in the tradition, it's a lifestyle completely. Like in the historical way, in the cultural way, you know that in India, Tantrics were living in their own world, like in their own ashrams, in their own temples. And their whole life was about meditations, visualizations, yantras, like all these esoteric old tantric technologies. So our master, he was also a little bit like old-fashioned, old master, old kind of person, and he wanted to kind of refresh, like revitalize this tantric lifestyle in modern day. Of course, it wasn't fully possible. We have to go back to our cities, our countries, have this modern life, and then go back to the school, which was also not super old style. We were having motorcycles to go from our house. Anyway, long story short, I spent 5 years there.
As always, some things are called.
Yeah. So this 5 years was very useful on my spirituality as well, my energy body, my health, my everything just have skyrocketed, you know, like everything improved in my life, not just my sexuality, also my mental state, my emotional state. Even in the winter I was getting less cold because of some techniques we learned. So, but after that I kept searching for other approaches into Tantra, and I came across with some Osho therapists in Turkey, which had really beautiful impact on me, and I'm grateful for their friendship and their work that they have done on me. And then through them I met some very old, like when Osho was alive, they were working with Osho in their ashram in India. Some really amazing masters, and I did some Tantra workshops with them as well. Some childhood work, teenager deconditioning, and so I kind of have a integral approach to Tantra. So because in this school in Thailand, it was mostly about physics, biology, and chemistry. You know, like, oh, what are the chakras, how to move the energy, how to have different type of orgasms, like how to awaken your mind.
And health.
Yeah, health as
Also,
well.
yes,
Yeah, like diets and...
body.
I'm sorry?
About our intimate body, about our health of genitals also too.
Yeah, they were talking about some techniques for women and for men, different ways, of course, and different groups, different workshops. So it was in their own world, it's quite integral, you know, like they talk about everything. Meditations, yantras, goddesses like Kali, and Triple Sundari and Tara, like all these 10 main cosmic powers. But something was missing, I feel like, because some teachers I used to hear that, oh, your relationships are influenced by your parents, like your relationship with your mother, your father. In this school, nobody was talking about this, but in the Osho world, it's the primary issue. You know, like they all talk about your parents, your parent issues, how it affects your sexuality, your energy. So I find things in the Osho world a lot. So I followed this way for a couple of years. I still love them. I still love both of the ways. I still practice the tantric way from the old style, like esoteric, and also the tantra of Osho, and other practices as well. Like everything is kind of connected to each other.
So for you, this is like completely, yes? These two ways together?
Yeah, I feel like, like for example, I don't know if in high school in Ukraine how you do it, but in Turkey, like we have natural sciences and social sciences. You know, like you have to choose like physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, or like psychology, philosophy. So the first school is more like this.
No, we still have all this.
You don't have this?
Yes, we have everything in the institute.
Oh.
We choose our profession. Also, I know some prepare before some like college little after 8th class.
Yeah.
You can out from school and choose more correct way for you also before university. But in school we have no this
division. Okay, perfect. In Turkey we had it on the last 2-3 years, so they can prepare. We can prepare better for university. Anyway, so long story short, this tantric style that I learned initially in the beginning is more about technicality. The other from Osho style tantra teachers, I learned psychology and philosophy and even sociology of all these things. So I think it's a complete, it's more whole kind of approach. And I'm not doing it full time. Actually, I'm doing it only with you to teach about these things so far. So
yes, it's very important to start into this spot because Fatih know many different ways, and also he studied many different things. So he is important in all of your questions, not about only relationships or sexuality. And I hope we will use it all in future.
Yeah.
Not only about relationship, different ways. So if you first meet with us, it's important for you to know.
Yeah.
Because you can ask us different questions.
Yeah. So let's hear a little bit from the audience. What they want to know.
I wanted to come back because they have questions about Osho Center and
already?
Yes,
okay.
They have. I know you was there and you studied there, so I don't remember correct. So this time your experience from time in Osho Center.
In Osho centers,
something important. Something will change your life.
And a specific experience.
Yes.
Like there's a very nice place in Greece, one of the Greek islands, very near to Turkey. It's Lesbos Island, actually where the word lesbian comes from this island. Historically, they have the first lesbian woman there who was living.
I remember something. We have also Finn Sappho, yes? Ukrainian Sappho? No?
I don't know
you
this.
You don't know this name?
No. maybe, yeah, probably, yeah, that's true.
From Greece.
I'm not so good with these names, but I think she lived there on this island. That's why this island today even still is very homosexuality friendly, bisexual friendly. So they have a very nice Osha place there, and this European couple, Premarta and Swerve, I love them very much. Even we had a private session with them. Like I'm taking therapy from them at the moment. Like they're so good that we had just a Skype session on Sunday, and there's amazing experiences I had. Which one to remember? I remember in Tantra workshop, there's this moment that I'm not supposed to tell the exact procedure, okay? Because people can decide to go to this workshop, and if they know what it is before,
yes,
it's not.
They are prepared.
Yeah, but this experience was about liberating your sexual energy, you know, like, and okay, it's hard not to give details, but in the end of the procedure, after half an hour, 1 hour, everybody was walking in the hall, just meeting each other. And I remember I was totally satisfied with my sexuality and totally enlightened at the same time. Like I was like Buddha, like have full compassion, and every person I'm looking to his eyes or her eyes, I just had amazing love. And this was just after a sexual practice. So these kind of things, I had a lot of more of them. Sometimes these kind of experiences come first with a catharsis, you know, like there's so much pain or guilt or negativity inside you that first you have to clear that out, and then you can take a positive energy or have a positive experience. Next question.
So this is how you come from the sexual experience, yes, with sexuality, but you come to much more deeper, yes?
Yeah, this is basically what Tantra is about. Even Osho talks about it. From sexuality, you go to super consciousness. Like it's something raw. The sexual energy is very raw. Everybody has it. It's not a very evolved energy. For example, the porn industry is nurturing from this raw energy of sexuality. That's not evolved. It's as it is. You know, like you just use this energy as it is. But in Tantra, you're like an alchemist, you know, like you take this energy, you take this form,
and do something.
Change it, transform it, like make gold from iron, like sublime the energy, to use a technical word, like to change the quality of the energy, so you can use it for creativity, for intelligence, for artistic expression, or love, or just divine experiences, like depending on which chakra you are using it at. There are different higher chakras and where the sexuality is. Of course, you can use it in Tantra is also embracing everything. One of the core things of Tantric teachings is it embraces everything. Like some of the spirituality says, oh, don't go into this, don't go into sexuality, don't go into food, don't go into mind, you know, like.
Yes.
But Tantra, you can use all of them as tools of your conscious self. So you can use sexuality to get somewhere else. But of course, you can still have sex, you can still have food, you can still use your mind. You can experience life as it is in a different level. Osho circles also take this a lot, but in both of the circles I find some drawbacks. Anyway, let me not go back
it's
there.
Another story.
Yeah, Melinda, sorry. Interrupt me, please.
Там тут тоже какие-то вопросы скажешь, хорошо? Okay. Here I can ask you from people because they misunderstood a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
What Tantra is?
What Tantra is?
Yes. What is
it's difficult to give a short answer.
Yes, but what it is?
Okay, I can
just try to explain.
I think I explained.
I
just explained the nature of it, like what kind of methodology it is, like kind of change the energy, make it something else. Use sexuality. You don't have to use sexuality. Any energy is embraced in Tantra. Actually, it's a kind of web. The Tantra, the meaning of Tantra means web that connects everything to everything. This is one meaning of Tantra. So, actually, when you go into Indian literature, there are basically 64 main books traditional, very old, ancient books. They're called agamas. There are 64 different typical agamas, and all of them are different about different things. Or tantras, like Mahanirvana Tantra, talk about 108 different techniques. Like, it's so wide. Astrology is part of Tantra. Yoga is part of Tantra. Music, sound healing, everything can be part of Tantra. Like herbs, incense, visualizations, yantras, mantras, everything is one instrument of Tantra in this way or that way. Sexuality as well, all these sexual practices. So it's a huge universe. Tantra today, many people just think about it as something about sexuality. It's not just limited with sexuality. It can be, as I said, anything that even you could be programming some software and it could be Tantra, you know, like there's no limit to what Tantra is. So what do you want to know about?
People just ask what it is, because they just first can see this world, yes, of workshop or meeting, and they don't understand what it is, where they will come.
Another explanation of the word Tantra means expansion of consciousness.
Yes.
So if you're expanding your consciousness, if you're becoming a more conscious person, you are doing Tantra. And let's talk about sexuality in this way a little bit. Today we are living in a world where everything is sexual, but the sex act itself actually suffers. Like nobody's satisfied with their sexual act. Yes. Not nobody, but most of the people. And porn industry is ruling, dominating the minds of mostly men in this world. And women are influenced by it. You know, like if you meet, like in today's world, if you meet just somebody from the street and have sex, if it's a woman, of course, from a man's standpoint, she will try to please you in a pornographic way. You know, like she will think that, oh, men will like something if I try to be like a porn star, like what those women are doing. So, and when you try to tell them, like, look, I don't want this, I like sex in a different way, they don't understand most of the time, or they think either this guy is very wrong or is very strange, or they get offended, oh, I'm so bad, you don't like all these things. But in fact, Tantra, there's a very famous book in Tantra circles, it's called The Cult of the Feminine.
Yes.
Which means Tantra is traditionally a feminine way. Like in the history, women gurus are initiating men into Tantra. Of course, there are some male gurus as well, but mostly it's a feminine field. So in fact, the body of a woman is a temple for Tantra, but 90% of women have no idea about this, and it's a big tragedy, I think, in today's world. Like, it's a drama, I would say, drama of Tantra, you know, like, now we are so liberated, you know, like after 68, the hippie generation, sexual revolution, feminism, everything, we are so free, but we don't know what to do with this freedom.
Yes.
So schools like...
and just use it like fast food.
Yeah, mostly, and also all this digitalization, like Instagram world. We were just talking about this before with you. Like all these, like just images, you know, like we're just living in an image world, a fantasy world that's nothing to do with reality. But I have many Tantra teacher friends. Sorry, like most of them one of the first lessons in Tantra is to forget about imagination and just be here and now. You know, like. Take a breath, feel your body, feel your energy, feel your sexuality. If you don't feel these things, you cannot change anything. You will just be like a robot, like somebody ordinary in a Matrix, like in the movie, you know. Like, but if you want to be like a Neo, like change something, first you have to feel. And to feel, what we should do, we should first look inside. Like if I'm all the time outside on the social media, on watching some movies, like, you know what I mean, like, so some meditation is necessary. There's no Tantra without meditation. Like there's no Tantra without, I would say, also yoga too, but that's maybe a little bit too extreme.
Yeah,
it's my style, but of course there are many different styles of Tantra.
Okay.
Could you bring us some water, please? We have Oksana here, our assistant. Thank you so much. So, Any questions coming live? I want to look at mine. I don't see any comments. Any questions? Can you see? Okay, we can have our questions from before.
Yes, what people can ask. How important are relationships with ourselves for build relationships with world, in couple, with our parents, and that on?
Well, I remembered these experiences that I had in some of the Osho workshops from Premartin's work, basically, and they talk about this inner child and inner teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And so before their Tantra workshop, which is about working with the inner teenager, they would work with the inner child, which is the primal workshop. And in both of them, as an adult person, you communicate with your inner child. Or in the Tantra workshop, you communicate with your inner teenager. So, and I understand after this that my relationship with myself, including all my aspects, like my inner child, my inner teenager, my inner man, inner woman, it's like there's a whole family inside. And, and if I can harmonize different aspects of my being, it makes so much sense to me, because in Mayan astrology, I'm into Mayan astrology before Tantra, and
yes, I think we will speak
a little bit about.
Because we prepare again interview for you, so we will open these questions also, because this is interesting.
I was giving a lot of private sessions from the Mayan astrology, and there you have your inner feminine, inner masculine as well. So
you didn't tell me.
No, it's there's so many things to tell, So I skipped this, but even before this tantric experiences, I was kind of trying to be aware of this inner man and inner feminine from the Mayan astrology standpoint. Like when I was giving a private session, like try to describe it to the person in front of, like, you have an inner man and an inner woman, like maybe a new idea for you, but
yes, I don't know this. They have this.
Yeah. But it's actually coming from Jung a little bit, like anima and animus, like we have inner man, inner woman. Like this is pretty important. Like in our relationship with our partner, for example, one of the very favorite Tantra teachers I have, I never attended his workshop. He's a very famous, very expensive American guy, David Deida. But I read all his books. I listened to his audiobooks and lectures. He talked about 3 stages. Okay, let's talk about relationship between man and woman. Okay, of course, if you are in peace with your inner child, you can have a better relationship with your child if you have a child, if you're a parent. If you also help with your parent as well. Like if you have peace, if this connection between your inner child and inner adult is balanced and harmonious, then you can be successful in business, have beautiful relationships with your family members, with your partner. Because, okay, let me finish this part first. Our inner child is our source of inspiration. Like you were just telling me, you attended this workshop last weekend that the master was doing Advaita Vedanta connected with the inner child. That's a perfect example. I think it's a very nice approach, because I experienced that my inner child is so pure that it's like a Buddha mind, like it's like the Atman or the perfect spiritual self.
Yes.
So, and if I just crush this inner child because of society, because of my teachers, because of my parents, because they manipulate my mind and I need to become very serious, like just have a tie and social mass, social cultural thing, like I have to be successful business person, whatever. And I just forget about this inner child. Actually, there's an amazing movie that explains this. It's from Bruce Willis. It's called The Kid. I recommend everyone watching this. Bruce Willis, The Kid. If you this inner child is a source of joy and inspiration. So, but some people, I would say some hippie people, do the extreme opposite. Like they completely criticize and reject the adults, and they just want to be a child their whole life. And they're always dependent on their parents, they can never make money, you know, like they can never express fully their potential in the world. They always become like a child, stay like a child. It's the other extreme. They are doing a little bit better than the other guys, like who completely ignore the child. It's because they feel more alive, they're more like happy, they just go to Goa, spend 6 months doing nothing, you know, like...
More unexpectable ideas come also.
Sorry?
More unexpectable ideas can come.
Ideas?
Yes, ideas, because mind is open. More creative.
Yeah, they can be very creative, they can like dance 12 hours in a party, but when it comes to like parenting or real life, they will have some troubles. Like I was one of them. I was living like this basically for many years. I completely rejected parenting, my parents, and decided to be just embrace my inner child. But it's also another suffering in my life. It was like this. So these therapies helped me a lot to really recognize. Actually, I already recognized it before. They kind of reminded me that my inner adult is there to protect my inner child. And the inner child is to inspire the inner adult. You know, like if the child is like feeling safe, oh, my inner adult is really protecting me and listening to me, and I am important, you know, like I am not just somebody who's forgotten, then the inner child keeps inspiring you all the time. But of course, sometimes it will want to take your whole life, you know, like, and the inner adult sometimes have to say no, you know, like make boundaries. You cannot do that. Okay, enough of play. Now it's time to do a little bit of professional play, like just work. You know, put that energy into something creative that you can make money. We can make money, so you can have food and you can have this toy as well. You know, like just like real conversation with a child. You know, like okay, I'm gonna buy you that toy, but you need to go to bed right now. You know, like this kind, because you have to wake up early and I have to sleep. We are in the same body. You know, like we are the same. So all these inner dialogues somehow, I think, is very healing. And actually, I would like to go back to this therapies and study this more. But right now, I'm super busy with many things, and my home life. We have a 1-year-old child, so it's full on. Anyway, so this is the relationship with your inner child and inner adult. Inner teenager is also there. You know, like when you were a teenager, you have traumatized by your schoolmates, you know, like, oh, you're such a dirty, ugly girl, you know, like you're such an ugly boy, like you're not attractive, you know, like all these things. You also have a chance to heal, you know, like when you're interacting with your partner, when you're flirting with somebody, you can still have this connection there, and your adult is like there, like you're talking to a teenager. It doesn't really matter. I love you. You're beautiful. Don't worry what they say. You will find a better partner. Like whatever, like this. Kind of, you can support your inner teenager too, because also many times, like in Turkish culture, for example, many boys especially, they are traumatized, they don't know how to, the sexuality is suppressed, and they don't know how to have healthy relationships. I'm coming from this culture, I had these issues, maybe to some extent, I still have these issues. So that's why this kind of tantric therapy is very useful. So when it comes to, okay, let's give a stop here. Because I'm like talking non-stop.
It's okay, you're on the floor.
Yeah.
Here we have good questions. If we have some meditation in our life or another practice, doesn't matter, what effect we have on our quality of life, on our mind? Does it help?
Let me try to understand the question. Meditation helps with money? That's the question?
Does our life change? If we have meditation or work by some way or have some practice, does it help in quality? Does it change our quality?
I think yes. Meditation actually, I will tell you.
How do you observe? Yes.
Like I have a German friend, and he's still running a meditation center. Stefan, hi, if you're watching this, he's running a meditation center in Peru, and you can find him online. I watched him recently giving an interview in Silicon Valley about artificial intelligence and how meditation can help with that.
Yes.
So, like, it's just an example how in today's business world, maybe not so much in Turkey, maybe not so much in Ukraine, but definitely in USA, many people are getting crazy about how to increase brain performance. You know, like because now we're living in an age where you need to do less more work in less amount of time, more creative work, more quality work in less amount of time without stress, because you also want to live in a beautiful life, you know, like more harmonious life, peaceful, healthy life. Meditation, like 5, 10, 20 minutes of meditation every day can even help a lot. And Tantra is all about meditation. Like, actually, in an ideal tantric sexual experience, it becomes a meditation. So it's a very deep meditation. So you can, with tantric sexuality, you can just combine things, you know, like, okay, instead of sitting 20 minutes for meditation, I can have a sex, I can have an orgasm, and it will be even a better meditation, which I also accomplish my sexual life. My partner is happy, so we are connected, and so overall, it sounds like a good formula.
I'm looking for next one.
All right.
And try to listen your with attention. Let's speak about jealousy. How to deal with it? Can we use it?
Can we use it?
Yes, probably.
I would say I'm not an expert about jealousy.
Yes.
Like some people in Tantra, they go more deep into relationship dynamics, you know, like how to resolve relationship problems, psychological problems, like how to deal with jealousy. My answer to that would be honestly limited. I would say that jealousy is somehow necessary, like I would just say offer to meditate with jealousy, you know, like, okay, I have an experience of jealousy, I'm jealous with my partner because she is with this man. Sorry?
Observe it. Yeah.
Observe it, yeah. Like just try to, but sometimes the energy of jealousy can be so strong you cannot observe it, you know, like it just wants to scream out, and then I would offer to just do it. If you can do it, ideally, in an environment you don't harm anybody else. You don't harm yourself, you don't harm anybody else. Take the pillow and beat the floor, beat the wall, scream, shout, yell. Of course, the neighbors can be disturbed. Be careful with that. This is kind of dynamic meditation, style of meditations that Osho brought to the world. It's very different from like this kind of Buddhist meditation. You just sit like a stone. You just dynamically meditate, you know, like, and express your emotions. So jealousy can be expressed, but you will see in that moment that when you express the jealousy, it's just the energy. So if you can observe this energy, it means you are not this energy. Yeah. You have at least a little bit of capacity to observe. So then it becomes, you make a distance between you, you know, like, so it's not controlling you, you're just observing it. And then after one moment, maybe it's back and it's controlling you, and you say something to your partner, you fight. It's okay. Like, what to do? Just Swarup was telling us on Sunday that no relationship is without fights. Like, if there's no fighting in a relationship, it's a fake relationship. It's not a real relationship. She even told us how she suffered because her parents never fought. They were never fighting, never ever. So when she grew up, she had a relationship with her boyfriend. The first fight, she finished the relationship because she thinks something was very wrong. But she later understood it's part of the relationship, you know. So jealousy is part of relationships. Fighting, arguments, anger, everything is part of it. So there is no perfect relationship. The point is how to deal with the imperfect relationship. How you can become more experienced and become more mature that, okay, like I'm experiencing this negative thing with my partner. What to do? Like, how can I still find a way to love? How can I still open my heart? Maybe not in that moment. Maybe in this moment I need to just go to my room, go to my space. Don't talk to my partner. Don't see my partner for 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 2 days.
Year. Next life.
Maybe. Well, that's a little bit longer break. Yeah, I mean, it's basically observing. It comes back to just try to observe your mind, observe your emotions, try to have compassion for your partner because he or she is also like a normal human being just like you. We are not Shiva, we are not Buddha, we are still evolving, and we have a lot of problems from our childhood, with our relationship with our parents, our previous relationships, our teenager life. Most teenagers have difficult life, travel, psychology, so we all go through this very difficult cultures of our society today. Like if you imagine Polynesians, for example, it's a small island in the Pacific Ocean. They live in an island. There's like 40 people, like, or maybe 400 people, the whole village. And like, what happens in the teenager life? For example, there are 20 boys and 20 girls. All the boys have sex with all the girls. So everybody knows everybody else sexually. And then there's no judgment, there's no negativity about this, no jealousy. And after a couple of years, when you have your sex with all the other girls, all the other boys, after some time, when you're 18, 17, I don't know, 27, you can decide, I want to be with this person and have children, you know, like, because you know that from all the others, this will fit you the best. You cannot understand it from outside. You need to have sex with this person to understand if you really match or not. You know, like, this is one of the problems of our society. We are conditioned to be just with one partner in our whole life. So, am I the expert in this? No, definitely not. I'm married. I'm having sometimes very difficult times with my wife. Hello, Christina, if you're watching. So, but that's life. We are learning. She's learning. I am learning, and we are evolving. So it's all about this attitude. You know, am I evolving? Yeah, it's good. There's no mistake. I'm learning something all the time. There's no failure. It's always a progress.
How to stay yourself but not hurt your partner? Yes.
Don't hurt your.
Yes, don't hurt your partner, and
This
also about egoism here.
About what?
Egoism. Let's touch it a little bit.
Egoism?
Yes, here at this moment. How to stay yourself?
About ego, I have very different thoughts. Maybe I can talk about it more comfortably. Ego is part of our reality. Like, without ego, we cannot survive. You know, like, ego means that all my cells are together. Because ego actually means identity of self. Like, I know that this is my leg and this is your leg. Like, if I don't know this, everything will be in chaos. You know, like, everything will be mixed up. So I am my ego, and I know who I am, like, as to a certain level. And maybe I can talk about a little bit selfishness, about selfishness.
Yes.
Well, I like Osho philosophy very much in this, and Osho says, okay, this is just philosophy, guys, you know, like, I'm not saying I'm expert in experiencing this, but Osho says, to be really selfless means like, I'm serving everybody, you know, like, I'm loving you, loving her, loving him, and I'm like in service for humanity. I'm a very kind, nice person, you know, like, I'm like greedy, doing stupid things. But to be able to do that, first you have to be selfish. If you're not truly selfish, you cannot truly be selfless. If you don't really nurture yourself, if you don't feel like a king or a queen or a god or goddess, you cannot give. Like, either you're a king, that you have so much that you can share with other people, or you're a beggar. You're begging for love, you're begging for attention. And
because you're pure.
Pure or poor?
Maybe poor.
Poor, like, I have no money. Yeah, I'm missing everything. Yes. So somebody has to give it to me. I mean, of course, this is also ideal word. Like, when I look at myself, sometimes I act like a king, and sometimes I act like a beggar.
Yeah.
And when I act like a beggar, my partner doesn't like me for sure. You know, like, because I'm all the time, give it to me, you have to give this attention, give this energy to me. But if I act like a king, if I'm like so generous, look, okay, I take it too, and my partner is really happy in that moment. Because she feels she's taken care of, she's supported. And on the other moments, she hates me, you know, like, what is this beggar? Like, sometimes, I don't know what's your experience with a beggar on the street. Some beggars, I just want to stay away, honestly. Because they just want to get something from you so much that it's disturbing. And I automatically think, you know, like, today I just saw a beggar on the street, he was smoking a cigarette. If you have money to buy a cigarette and smoke, you can work, you can earn your life, you know, like, why are you still begging? So nobody likes beggars. So in relationship and love, try not to be a beggar and try to just make peace with yourself, explore your inner strength, explore your inner, talents, like what you can give to the world, what strengths you have, and make them even more strong, use them even more, give them to humanity, give them to the world, and then you will feel more self-confidence. And then it's like for men, if I talk about, it's like an archetype. There are 4 male archetypes like king, warrior, lover, and magician. And the king is the main archetype that has all of the others. It's very difficult.
Last one, when it is the last one?
It's the most important thing, let's say. Like it's the primary one. And for me, I'm working with the other archetypes for maybe 10 years, but the king is really the most difficult one to be like a king. Being a father helps me a lot in that I have more responsibility, you know, like, so I have to have my own kingdom and everything should work in harmony. Sometimes it doesn't work, so I have my lesson. Anyway, so I think that's an answer to your question. My battery just dead, so I couldn't say goodbye to my Facebook live friends, but it's okay, we're continuing with yours.
It was okay? Yeah. Okay. The stuff I have also would like to ask you your experience. What's the most important changes with you after your daughter come?
It's a kind of a private question, no? You promised not to ask private questions. Actually, I just gave you the answer. Like, to become a father, to feel this king energy, you know, like to have more responsibility.
Yes.
This I would say is an answer, yeah.
Also about different type of thoughts, and also about conflicts. It's very interesting, and we'd like to touch this question.
About what? I don't understand the question.
What to do when it's this conflict of conviction, belief, opinion between partners in couple?
Oh, like one of them is an...
About polygamic and monogamic in relationship.
Oh.
Here we have the most
questions.
Yes, because you know, it's some joke. This beliefs, yes, in people start to have a war.
I understand.
From these people, this belief warrior from these people.
Yeah, I would say again, I'm not an expert in this subject. I experienced both, you know, like polygamy and monogamy. They have both their advantages and disadvantages. And I have to say that every person has to find their own way.
And what's the difference? What we can get from it, from Tantra? What Tantra think about it?
Tantra is not about one of them. You know, like I know of tantric couples that are married for 10 years and they have 2 children, for example. I know tantric couples, they have other partners as well. I know tantric people, they are not couple anymore, they have many partners at the same time. And I know tantric people who don't have any partners at all for certain times. Yeah, they just decide to go into a meditation, like find themselves, be with themselves, and prepare for a special relationship, maybe or not at all. So all of them is in the field of Tantra. If you're in a polygamous relationship, the difficulty is that if your heart is not settled, if you're not peaceful in your heart, if you don't have enough self-confidence, you will get hurt all the time, basically. Like, because you love this person, you have very deep connection with this person just the next night go and have sex with somebody else. For most people, it's very difficult to handle and it can drive you crazy. So it's not a very easy way, it's not a smooth way, so to say. It's going to be very like a bumpy journey, you know, like the car will get stuck in holes all the way on the road. So you will get disturbed very much in this kind of tantric lifestyle. So you have to be very, 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 very ready for it, in my opinion. Like, I just give you an anecdote. I met a friend of mine, a German woman, in Brazil, in John of God. And we met in this Tantra school when I first came there. And we were both polyamor, and we had like some nights together, not a very deep relationship. And then she moved on, and then she had a more deep relationship with another German guy. But this guy was having other partners. And it stopped after 2 or 3 years. So basically 7 years ago, this thing stopped. But she's still recovering from these experiences. She was so much hurt, she's still healing herself from these experiences. So it's not a joke, you know, like it's a very serious thing and you have to be careful. But on the other hand, theoretically, I support anybody who wants to go into this. I would like to tell you something, like, I don't remember, there is a very famous Belgian psychotherapist, like a normal mainstream psychotherapist, Esther somebody, I will give you her name. She lives in New York. She's a super successful psychotherapist on relationships. Well, I watched one of her presentation and she says, you know, when you ask your grandparents, monogamous relationship means only one person for your entire life. So if you're with one person for 2 years and then with another person for 2 years, you are not monogamous. You think you are monogamous because you don't have sex with somebody else at the same time. Doesn't matter. Ask your grandparents, like how they think about what is monogamous. One person for entire life. So we already don't live this way. And most of the time we live in a very different world, of course. We don't live in the world where our grandparents were living. We live in a world where we have Instagram, where we have feminism, where we have freedom of sexuality. We have sadomaso clubs, sex shops, like everything is there. So sexuality is a very different experience and relationship is a very different experience. So we have actually the choice to make a better partner for ourselves and have intimacy. Like, you are special for me. I'm not just having sex with you, we have a mind connection. Our grandparents didn't have it. They didn't have this chance. They have to marry one person, they have to make family, children, and that's it. So maybe this was a shitty partner for them, maybe not. They were just lucky if they had good partners. Like even my parents. My mother says something like this. Like, it's not a watermelon you can first smell, and then she's, no, not this one. So they got married to my father, and she was not happy with him. They had a lot of problems. So she's basically saying, if I would smell him before, in the shop, this watermelon, I would say, no, I don't take this watermelon. But they didn't have this chance. We have it today, but still we are not totally free because of our epigenetic structure, because our parents, our grandparents were like this. We are somehow between trying to be like a monogamous person, like, oh, the love of my life, one queen, one king. But on the other hand, we still want to explore, oh, look, did you see this? Like, they are doing this, like all kind of new experiences. So I believe we need to, especially if you are at a young age, I recommend to explore, if you can explore, like going to this, but of course with safety and caution. It's not a joke. In tantric circles, they say Tantra is fire. It's like you do this fire poi, right?
Yeah.
You have to make it very good, otherwise you burn yourself. So you need to train before, without fire. Tantra is the same. You need to train before to go really deep into relationship. Otherwise, you will burn yourself. Maybe you will still be okay. Oh, I burned myself. I learned from this, and I continue. You will burn yourself anyway if you're in Tantra. It's not an easy way. So you need to be courageous. You need to be a little bit rebellious. You need to be different from the rest of the society, because the rest of the society is very dominant with the basic values. Still. Just one partner, marriage, make money, live an unhealthy life, look at television, smoke cigarettes, you have a whiskey, that's it, like Coca-Cola culture we are living in mostly like. So if you are tantric, the tantrics of the old time, they would refuse things. For example, in India, everybody is a vegetarian, most.
Yes.
But tantrics, they eat meat and fish for special ceremonies. So it was like, what are you talking about for Indian culture? You are the evil man. If you eat meat, how can you do that? So in today's world, we need to be also like them, a little bit brave souls. We are changing the world. I'm transforming my whole life and look at sexuality in a different way. I don't watch porn. I try to feel my energy, feel my body, try to sublime my energy. And it's difficult to find a partner like that as well. So, I don't know, it's your inner calling. If you have this inner calling, like, oh, something in my heart says, go. Yeah? Just come. Come to our workshop, come to other Tantra Masters workshops, just experiment with all this.
Some people tell us they lose energy when have orgasm.
Sorry?
Some people tell us, yes,
yeah.
Many of them
what they have?
ask us question. They lose energy when have orgasm.
They lose energy when they have orgasm. It's a very common theme in our tantric teachings. This from Agama Yoga school. That's my school in Thailand. There are different type of orgasm. Some type of orgasm, actually they are more tantric type of orgasm, where you don't lose the energy. If you lose your energy in orgasm...
We will tell this on our workshop.
Yeah, this is one of the main subjects in our workshop. So if you lose the energy in an orgasm, well, maybe it's not so beneficial then. It's
maybe
like
you need to come to work.
Yeah. Like you get something from this orgasm, the orgasm gives you pleasure, maybe the orgasm gives you bonding with your partner, some joy, some happiness for some moments, but then if you lose energy, you can maybe feel depressed, maybe you feel low energy, fatigue, all these kind of negative things. So you can change it actually. You can have a different way, as I said, a tantric way to reach to orgasm or orgasmic experiences, because it can be a little bit different from what you expected, what you experienced before. But still have a lot of pleasure and still have a lot of bonding with your partner and still have a lot of energy at the same time. Because you don't ejaculate the energy, you inject the energy. Actually, there's a very famous movie in the Tantra circles. I recommend this movie as well. It's called Bliss.
Yeah.
It's made in 1996. There are different movies with the name Bliss. This one was made in 1996. It's a story between a tantric teacher and a couple. So this tantric teacher at some point tells that you need to learn how to injaculate, not ejaculate. So you send the energy inside, up, to your higher chakras, to your heart, to your mind, to your crown chakra for divine connection. So you don't lose the energy, you use it in a different way. So you still have it, but in a different frequency. You have this sexual raw passion, and after 1 hour of lovemaking, you don't have this passion anymore, but you have so much love, or you have so much inspiration, or you have so much lucidity in your mind, like clarity, or some divine state of mind, like some Buddhist kind of meditative state of mind, you know, like. So that's kind of basic of tantric sexuality. Like you need to learn how to transform this energy so that you don't lose it. It becomes something else.
Okay, this good answer. Next one. Is that true that we can have experience to feel orgasm in different chakras?
Yes, it's true.
People ask us.
Yeah, it's. Do they want to know if it's possible or is it easy? It's not easy. Like
they just ask, is that true? But you can also tell about how you did this.
It's for some people it can be very easy. We have, for example, in Ayurveda we have different constitutions.
Yes.
You know, like some people it's very easy to move the energy. It's very easy to move the energy up.
To what type?
Vata types mostly, like air types, and like you and me.
Because the most pranic.
Yeah, you're a Libra air sign. I'm Aquarius air sign. Most pranic, maybe you're also right. Like the energy is more light. So these kind of people have more easy access to this higher chakra orgasms, but it doesn't mean you are limited if you don't have air in your astrological chart. It's possible, it's not so difficult. There are some certain techniques in the yoga about sublimation, for example. This can help you very much. But I would like to tell you kind of a secret in any kind of a spiritual way, I think. I experienced this in my life, that when I go into spirituality, like for example Tantra, in the beginning you will be given a special experience, like a very high experience that normally would take you years to go there. You know, it will be just given to you, so you know what. It's like an inspiration for you, you know, like the masters of Tantra, they will say, have this
like
little bit taste of, pinch of salt, like, and then you are motivated. Okay, if this is, I want to go. So you can have this kind of glimpses of experiences here and there, once in a month, once in a year. It's very beautiful. If you want to have more of them, unfortunately, you need to work. You know, like it's a way of working. It's a way of inner work. Energetic work, technical work, yoga will help, purification of your body will help, and then it's possible to have orgasm on different chakras. The most easy on Ajna chakra, the third eye, or the heart chakra, but the others are also quite possible. Actually, when you have an orgasm, it's already an orgasm on the second chakra, this Svadhisthana chakra. So your orgasm is already on one chakra. You just need to change the level, go into lift, press the button, or go to third floor, go to fourth floor, and have a different experience.
Okay, thank you. Another one is very interesting. There is some connection between negative emotional baggage of a woman and her uretus womb, her genital?
Yes, actually, as a male Tantra teacher, I'm not the expert in this. The female Tantra teachers, because they experience it in their body, they will tell more. From a male body, I would say we also have an inner feminine, so I kind of experienced this as well. In the points called prostate point in a man.
Yes.
So when I started having prostate massage, I experienced deep emotions coming out, like sorrow, sadness, anger, like all different kinds of catharsis coming out because my prostate is stimulated in a very strong way. And technically speaking, medically speaking, the G-spot in a woman is also like the male prostate, female prostate. So when the G-spot is stimulated with a certain massage, like yoni massage, like G-spot stimulation, I saw in many of my partners, or I was doing it as a massage as well, I saw it in my clients, that they will have a lot of emotions coming out. Or sometimes they will be completely frozen. Like, because all this energy, all this emotion is so much that the only way to deal is just close that box, you know, like don't do anything, don't open that box, it's full of shit, will come out. So the first reaction, freeze.
I don't want it.
Yeah, you don't want, so there will be, like, I'm like stimulating the G-spot, and what do you feel, how do you feel? Nothing. They don't know that there's something there, but, and this is one of the problems, you know, like, in the common world, nobody teaches about G-spot. I mean, of course, this is becoming more popular today. For example, one of my friends from the school in Thailand is Laila Martin. Laila Martin is actually very famous on YouTube. She's making amazing videos, amazing courses, and she's making it very popular and very available. Not her, other teachers as well. Today, new generation, YouTube is helping a lot. So more and more women are realizing into this. Sorry, what was the question, Melinda?
I forgot.
You forgot me too.
Connection between our illness, yes, and also some about negative baggage, emotional baggage of women and her uretus.
So the G-spot is one of the first points where this emotional luggage is loaded. So during this massage is like, it's a healing, it's a therapeutic massage. It doesn't have to be orgasmic, like pornographic or something like that. Unfortunately, in porn, they also use it a lot. They discovered, oh, there's this G-spot, you know, like try to make women skirt and female ejaculation and all that. Women are suffering in this way as well. It needs to be more therapeutical, and healing attitude should be there. So, in my experience, G-spot is the first place where this emotional garbage is stuck. Of course, in deeper parts of the yoni, the vagina of the woman, like in the cervix or in deeper parts, a lot of things are there. They need to be purified and healed. I know some female teachers, some of them coming from shamanic tradition, for example, about how to heal your womb using fire and herbs. Recently, she was in Turkey, a Chilean woman. Like, she does some kind of work. Of course, I never attended, it's only for women. Or some other tantric teachers who work in this way, how to heal the womb, how to release these emotions from the genital area of woman. It's a big source there, and it will affect everything from your pleasure, your orgasm, your sexual life. Some women are frigid just because of these things, you know, like they have been unfortunately traumatized when they were a child, teenager, you know, like some, most women actually suffer from these things, you know, like, I don't know now the word in English right now, but like somebody comes and tries to touch you, you know, like all these sexual assault kind of things. This is traumatizing and this is freezing for many women. So all these things have to be healed. So it's a long journey, but in the end, the benefits are amazing. When you heal, you become more centered, more energetic. Then Tantra says that women are Shakti, goddess, you know, like men are Shiva too, like we are gods. When we heal ourselves, when we connect with our power, we are divine. And women can be divine as well. So in the end of the destination is amazing, but going there is a little bit climbing up a mountain, some difficulties here and there. But women are more lucky than men, unfortunately, for men. Fortunately for women, because as I said, Tantra is a cult of the feminine. So women can much easier go into Tantra. But I met so much women that they're so much conditioned by this pornographic attitude that for them it was impossible. Like I was, oh my God, you know, like for 5-10 years later, maybe they have a little bit opening. Tell me about this Tantra, you know, like some of my ex-lovers. And for men it's more difficult because men don't like to change. Also, men are very proud of their sexuality. You know, like, oh, you will teach me about my sexuality. No, I'm already good. You know, like, don't tell me about my sex life. So this egotic things we have to drop. Like, I am nobody. I don't know nothing, and I'm coming with a full open mind. And then I can become even a better man. Okay, I'm a very good man. They say one of my clients is an alpha man. You know, like super, like already very sexual life. Yeah, he can get even better, you know, like with Tantra we can improve our performance because men are usually,
because he is already strong.
Yeah, but we are like bodybuilders, you know, like, oh, I want to have better muscles, bigger muscles, more like this performance anxiety, no, I have to satisfy my woman, you know, like all these things.
Work with this picture.
Yeah, maybe if you still are very good with your sexual performance, but you can get even better, you know, like why it's not like, it's like, oh, you're athlete, you're running 400 meters very good, but you want to join the Olympics, you know, like there's always the next level in your performance. Of course, if you have performance anxiety at some point in Tantra, you have to drop it because it can it can stop you from feeling these energies and transforming energy and have a Buddha mind-like state. If you want to perform all the time, you know, like, some men are like this, you know, like obsessed with performance. I give it to my woman, you know, like full on 2 hours of sex, you know, like, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. In tantric sex, okay, we talk about long love making, you know, not just 5 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour minimum, maybe 2 hours. Some partners can make it even longer than that, like 2, 3, 4 hours of sex. Even some legendary partners 10, 8 hours, 1 day, 2 days. I hear these stories, you know, like it's possible. It depends on your constitution. You need to be more very earth-based, you know, like a lot of energy so you can continue for hours and hours. But what do these couples do? Do they like fuck each other like rabbits for 4 hours? No, it's there are moments of bliss, moments of meditation, awe, and you know, like joy or deep connection. So it's not just fuck all the time. It's there are other things coming from a higher chakras as well. So maybe they listen to very beautiful music, they get inspired to create some art.
Also not like porn, it's connection.
Yeah, connection is a...
Pornography.
Yeah, actually, like in today's world, in Turkey, and also I saw it a lot in Ukrainian culture, men, we need to get rid of these things and try to feel like a woman likes a man so much if he feels his own energy and if he feels the energy of his partner. It's very unique. Like if you want to be original, be tantric, you know, like come to Tantra and try to feel these energies, I would say.
Okay, nice. Can we come back or restore our health, our intimate health, with the help of special exercise?
Special exercise, special lifestyle, special diet, special healing techniques, all of them can help. Like I heard amazing stories from some women in my Tantra school. They come completely messed up, and fortunately one of our senior teachers, she was a medical doctor and also homeopaths. Like she would approach this woman from very different perspectives, and yeah, Tantra is like we would say Tantra has 3 levels. The first level is healing. Like first you need to heal yourself, and then slowly it becomes like a yoga of Tantra, you know, like, oh, you're doing something even more difficult, you know, like more like a performance, like interesting experiences. But first you have to heal. If you have a lot of emotional issues, first you have to heal. And then at some point you become so good in your yoga, you become an artist, you know, you become a virtuoso, you know, you can do incredible things, impossible things. But it's a procedure, it takes time. You have to, some people very quick in this, some people very slow in this. So it's better not to compare yourself with somebody else. I personally, I'm not a very fast learner in Tantra. Like it took me a lot of time to understand many things, control my energy, because I had zero background in this. You know, like nobody taught me anything in my like childhood, in my teenage life. Most people are like that, and I didn't have a karmic or astrological support as well. So when I came to Tantra, I had to learn everything from zero. But it changed my whole life. You know, like I feel so self-confident in so many aspects of my life, my emotional life, my business life, my sexual life. It has many benefits. Next question.
How is important trust in relationship?
Again, any question about relationship, I'm not the expert.
But people want to know this.
Yeah, well, trust. I would recommend one book that I read about this. In English, it's called From Fantasy Trust to Real Trust.
Yes.
So this is also a couple. The man is he's a psychiatrist, studied in Harvard University. His partner also very experienced. They are from Osho world. They are very good therapists. They're famous. Krishananda and Amana, his partner. They talk about again in a similar way, like before you trust your partner, you need to trust yourself. Like, if you trust yourself, your partner doesn't impact you so much. You know, like whatever he does, and she will trust you more. Like if you have a good connection with yourself, if you have a good relationship with yourself, your partner will also have a good relationship with you. But if you have problems with yourself, you have distrust yourself, then these will reflect automatically on the relationship. And the trust will also disappear in the relationship as well. So I would say from this only this much about this question.
Okay. What is important for women to know about men? Something.
Some spicy question, huh?
Yes. What is important?
What is important
to
know about men for a woman?
Yeah.
You mean like generally or about a certain man? Like
no, generally. About other genders, yes.
You need to know how long his dick is. No, I'm joking. Well, a very good point would be, for example, if we are planning to have a relationship, like if you want to have a very deep relationship, like I'm dating this person, okay? We go to a restaurant, we have a dinner, we're trying to get to know each other, and we can ask some questions about the other person. It's very radical, but recently there was even a parody online about this, like to ask, for example, how was your relationship with your mother? Like, how was your relationship with your father when you were a child, you know, like when you were a teenager? How was your relationships before me? You know, like how did they end up? Do you project your own traumas to your partner? You know, like do you project your fantasies to your partner? Or can I?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it fits me, you know, like, oh, she can be my queen, you know, like, oh, my dream woman, my dream man. But all of these are projections because we miss something when we were a child that we couldn't get, or something was so good that we want to have it again. Like as a woman, as a girl, my father was so perfect in a certain way, I want to have the same as my husband or my boyfriend. Well, that's a big problem because your boyfriend is your boyfriend, is not your father. So he will act in his own way and he will be his way. And the moment he's different from your father, you will feel disappointed and you will start angry or disappointed, and this will bring down the relationship. So first we need to learn how to be authentic with ourselves. Like I am myself, you know, like I'm not going to change just because you want me, you know. And this is how I am, as much as possible, you know, like to be transparent in a relationship as much as we can. It's very difficult because of all these social conditions. Oh, I have to act like this. I have to show myself like this. All these things are ruining a lot, I think, our relationships. So honesty is the solution.
And another, what for men is important to know about women?
Well, I would say from this perspective, much or less the same things about this. You know, like what's the psychological reality of this person as much as possible. So, of course, first it's good to have sex with this person, you know, like, and in this sexual experience try to be conscious about like, oh, are you moving somewhere? Are you like, is it a unique experience? Is it really passionate, you know, like, or is it just, even this person looked very sexy on the photos, the experience itself is not so elevating, you know, like, oh, I was so attracted to this person, but the experience didn't really change my energy level, didn't really give me something new. Then maybe it's, although she's very pretty or he is very handsome, maybe it's not the perfect partner for me. So look at the chemistry more than that, you know, like, are we like immediately connecting and going somewhere else, immediately having a certain special experience, and is it continuing like this? And that is a good partner for you, because you will have a very good sex life in the long term. But if your sex sucks from the beginning, it's not a very good start, you know, like, you can have very good mental connection, very much heart connection. In Taoism, for example, they say you need to look at 3 levels of connection.
Yes,
Your
spiritual, very good.
Like your spiritual level, your spiritual connection, your mental, you're talking about same things, different similar hobbies, like this kind of thing, and sexual connection, are you a good match? So these are what needs to be important, I think, in a date.
And in the end,
Yeah.
because I think an hour we have, yes? Something like that. There
Quite long,
there is
yeah.
no time, yes. So I think we can move into the end.
Sure.
And I would like you share some your special insight or understanding point of view with our people.
Mm-hmm.
Something what they can take or use. Just show them some point of view what you would like to share with them. What they can use, something interesting.
Just a simple technique like that helps with my life.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
or some insight.
Some insight.
Yes, from you.
I think I already shared a lot during this interview.
Yes, yes.
Let me try to find another one.
Just
Well, there's a famous author that I like very much, Byron Katie. She's an American woman. She was just a normal, ordinary woman, and through her some kind of enlightenment, she became very enlightened and very famous and write amazing books. She basically says, and this is very true for my life, when I first came across this teaching, it was like bullshit, you know, like stupid theory, you know, like, oh, I will do this and things will change in my life. Such a simple, stupid solution, you know, like I ignored it for some time, really. But after some years, I realized, oh, it works, you know, like it's very simple and
something strong, yes.
Yeah, and it's what we call the energy of acceptance, you know, like the capacity of acceptance, of tolerance. Whatever happens in our life, it's very, very difficult if you don't support this. For me, if you don't support this with some meditation practice, some detox practice, some yoga or spiritual experiences. But if you can do it, accept as much as possible what happens in your life. You know, like, oh, I have a technical problem with my phone died. You know, like, okay, what to do? You know, like, I couldn't finish my audience on my page, couldn't listen to half of this live. You know, like, maybe it's tens of people, maybe it would bring me more happiness, maybe it would bring me more money, I don't know. But it happened like this, and my phone died. What to do? You know, like, accept as much as possible. Or there's a difficult situation in your relationship that your partner is acting in the same way or something that disturbs you. It's difficult, I know, because we have expectations. You know, like, oh, I expect my partner to be like this. Okay, try to accept that your expectation is not realized. You know, like, this person is not like that. And we also have, more importantly, we have expectations about ourselves. You know, like, I have to be like this, I have to do it like this, you know, like, I have to be so good in this. Most of them come from our childhood again, you know, like our teachers, our parents. You are not good enough, you know, like, you are not perfect enough, you have to do it like this. And we take all this shit and we program our brain with this. So as much as become aware of these things, just let go. Just relax. You're okay. You're learning, you can change it. Even in Tantra and yoga and spirituality, you know, like, it's like a competition, you know, like in yoga especially, oh, can you do that asana, you know, like, can you do handstand, you know, like, not always, but sometimes it's like this. So we need to be soft with ourselves. to be gentle with ourselves, compassionate with ourselves. I think this is the key thing for a successful and happy life for all.
I think this is very useful. They can really use it in our life, in their life. And I wanted to thank you very much for this interview.
You're welcome.
This is very nice. We have so many questions, but we will take it for another time.
I enjoyed it so much too. I was waiting for this for a long time. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
And after some time, after an hour, I think, we will prepare for you one another. And
it will be subject to be slightly different. It was,
yes,
as I understand, it's more about my personal life.
Yes, so you will see it on our YouTube. And also, now I want to ask you also a little bit short to promote our workshop for people who will visit it. What they can wait in, why they should to come.
Yeah, of course you can say your opinion as well. I think the first workshop, we are planning 2 weekends. The first weekend is more about this technical foundation of Tantra, more about energies, how to change the orgasm type, and how to have more control over sexual energy so we can change our experience of sexuality in a sacred way, in an energetic way, on different chakras.
Many attention also will put how to work with chakras and about energy with this.
Yeah, we will do some
yoga for chakras.
Yoga meditation.
Many things for you.
Yeah.
It will be different programs than before. We put many.
We will add. Yeah, if somebody is listening who has been before, it was only for 1 day. The time was not enough, so we made it 2 days. And there will be also some philosophical things as well, some practice about experiencing the essence of Tantra. I will not give you more details because it's the content of the workshop.
Also healing we put there, so that will be very useful for you.
Yeah. That will be more for the second weekend, right? So on the second weekend, I will share more of what I experienced in this Osho world, like more psychotherapeutical understanding of Tantra, like relationships, how to heal yourself, how to hold the space for healing for your partner, these kind of things. And you will provide your gems as well.
Yes, and a lot of healing. This is important for us to be healthy. And this will be in Kyiv. We will put some information for you about dates and place, and we will be glad to see you there.
What is the first workshop? When is the workshop?
17 and 18 of November, and second will be 3rd and 4th of December.